preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. It's a live edition, and it is Wednesday, Hump Day, on PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. We got JC here in just a second. Tonight, the Gators play Wake Forest in basketball, and it's that ACC SEC challenge. So it's a game the Gators need to win. If you missed it, Bobby Petrino is back at Arkansas as the offensive coordinator. Very strange story, but I think he'll do fine there. And golf season kicks off tomorrow. The Hero Challenge over in the Bahamas. We'll do some golf picks on the Peachland Dental golf picks. JC's not aware of that, but there's only a handful of guys playing. I don't know how they get in this tournament, but they will be playing. All right, JC, you're on the Titanium Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements.
Yeah, very happy to be here. With the weather we have outside, the last thing I'm thinking about is golf. But, it's nice to have this little change of temperatures to kind of get you in the mood for championship weekend. But don't worry, it'll rain this weekend later, and it'll warm up. But I do think this is a very pivotal weekend. Obviously, the championship weekend, this could be the last year we really look at it in the same light because of next year's 12-team playoff, right? But for right now, we've got 7 teams vying for 4 spots, maybe 8, but mostly 8, I guess, vying for 4 spots in the college football playoff. We'll know what those results are on Sunday, and it starts on Friday with 2 really good games, QB. You got the Conference USA Championship between Liberty and the New Mexico State Aggies, Daddy. My Aggies, the real Aggies. And then you've got the Ducks and the Huskies playing in the last Pac-12 championship game ever. So that game's in Las Vegas inside. It'll be a great football viewing weekend for folks. And, it'll give you a chance to forget the shenanigans and the nonsense that this past season was in Florida.
Where are they playing that Conference USA or whatever that conference, New Mexico State? Where's that tournament game at?
That game will be played in Lynchburg, Virginia, of all places.
So it's a home game.
Yeah, at Williams Stadium. Yes, at Williams Stadium. So, the Aggies are rolling in. But, hey, if you can win in Auburn, you might have a chance to win in Lynchburg, maybe. So, Aggies are 10-3, bro. I mean, it's incredible. And I don't know how they got to 13 games, but that's what the record says here, 10-3. And then Liberty, of course, is undefeated. So, Liberty's undefeated just like Florida State. Why aren't they ranked in the
Wasn't Liberty undefeated last year, too, under Hugh Freeze?
Yeah, Jamie Chadwell is the coach there, and he's been one of the hot names. But I still – my son went to Mississippi State. Your daughter went to Mississippi State. We have Mississippi State friends. And they were talking about Jamie Chadwell for weeks. And then out of the blue, they hired Jeff Levy, which I thought was a steal. I think that is a fantastic hire for Mississippi State just because it's going to get them back on track offensively. It's going to get some players in there that know how to want to score touchdowns, right? So that's that's interesting to me. But the Liberty, what are they? The Flames, Liberty Flames.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Incredible story. They win all the time, and not only do they win, but they cover every single weekend. Vegas
Why didn't you put any houses and garages on them? You never did.
Great point. Great point. It's a great point. It's a great point because they were undergraded by Vegas completely the entire season. So, sometimes Vegas doesn't know. And Liberty covered every week. You should see the record against the spread. And they're playing New Mexico State as a 10-point favorite.
So are you going to take Liberty against your beloved Aggies?
I don't know. It's going to be tough because my beloved
you just
Aggies,
told us they cover every week.
They do. And it's probably going to happen. They're playing at home. Yeah.
All right, we got some Facebook Lives and some YouTubers we got to get to. Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the mighty Gators.
Yeah.
Kevin says, some of our fan base are delusional idiots. They won't change.
Why do we always yell about the fans? I still don't understand.
No. Let me just finish his comment. He says some of our fan base are delusional idiots. They won't change, but when Napier fires, they complain about who he fires. Shaking my damn head. So then Trevor on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says thoughts on Charlie Partridge as the D-line coach, his special teams coaching experience also. I know nothing about Charlie Partridge. Look, he's going to hire who he wants to hire, who he thinks can, get them going in the right way. And then Kenny says on YouTube, good morning, guys. Love the show. Have you heard about ETN and what do you think? There's a lot of smoke out there that he's going into the portal.
Yeah.
Would not surprise me, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, no, not now. It is like you like to say, it is what it is. They're going to do what they want, and hopefully Florida can replace that loss if it happens. I think I went to an event last night. A lot of very influential people. It was a political fundraiser, and in a local political situation, so to speak, and they're all huge boosters of this program. And I asked them, I said, what would you be more inclined to do? Send your money to the NIL folks or send your money to the university folks? And QB, I couldn't believe what I heard. Every one of them, every single one of them. And I'm talking, this is big money now, generational, biggest in this part of the state. Every one of these guys said, well, what's the difference? Well, I just write a check to Florida and they'll do with whatever they want to do with it. So I don't know if the messaging is out there on the university's behalf or even in the NIL people's behalf, because these people we're talking 8-figure type accounts now, planes, trains, automobiles. They don't even know where the hell to send the money. So if you're going to sell this program, but
JC, they have to know if they're boosters. If they're boosters, they know. Now some of these people that act like they're boosters, they couldn't tell you what the quarterback's job is.
Yeah,
they couldn't tell you which side was offense and which side was defense.
Right, but these are 7th floor folks, dude, and these are
I said, they go up there and they sit in their little kitchen and don't watch the games.
Some of them do, but the rest of them, I think do know. And I think these folks, they run these businesses and they're just waiting to figure out what to do. I said, what do you think we should do? I don't know. It's too soon to fire the coach. Can't fire the coach. It costs us too much money. Nobody knows. So
I need to get a list of these people because I guarantee you if they're who I think you're talking about. I know they've been on some of these trips I've been on with the team.
Yes, well, maybe so, but it's not like people are just rushing to the bank to get the checkbook and get Florida in the game. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't feel that way anyway.
All right.
I'm telling you, this is from the ground, folks. I'm giving you reports from the battlefield here. Okay. There's no. The group of folks that I was around last night, I think, represent the top 1% of 1% in this area, and they love the Gators. I think, although some of that love has been tempered lately, I still think they want to support the team. They do. They're 7th floor folks. So hell if I know.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you should have told them where to send it, JC. You could have told them to send it to our podcast. We'd take care of it for them. Clint on YouTube,
they do watch,
Quality Plumbing. He says, QB, you consistently talk about how elite coaches are rare. I agree, and that's why I was advocating hard for Hugh Freeze during the last coaching search. He would have done really well at you. Possibly. I mean, can you imagine what the Auburn people said when you get your ass beat by New Mexico State at home when you're 25-point favorites? I don't think that would go over very well here in Gainesville.
No.
So,
well, it's true, and we've had some surprises in this league. I mean, folks look at this league, I think, somewhat differently than maybe they used to. Now, I'm not talking about the media. I'm just talking about who we like to call the goofy fans out there. They're not as impressed. And not that I care what they think in the Big Ten, my God, but I see this all the time from people I know and things I read. You know, SEC sucks. SEC's down. It's no different than any other conference. I'm going, dude, look at the results of the past, I don't know, 25 years. Who has dominated the postseason in college football? And they always like to say, well, it's always the same damn team, right? It's always the same two teams. But what's South Carolina done in the last 25 years? What's Mississippi State done in the last 25 years? What's Ole Miss done in the last 25 years? What's Tennessee done in the last 25 years? What's Vanderbilt ever done? What has Arkansas done in the last 25 years? How about Texas A&M? They got more money than anybody in the country. What have they ever done? And I can't argue those points. I mean, they're tough teams. Look at LSU. They're great. But Brian Kelly, QB, he's lost 7 games, okay? He's got likely the Heisman Trophy winner on his team this year, and they still lost 3 times. They lost 4 times last year, got embarrassed in the SEC game. He's lost 7 games. You think the fans at LSU hired Brian Kelly to lose 7 games in 2 years? That's not what they want over there. Believe me, it's not what they want. So,
yeah, I mean, it's only a handful of teams that are going to be in the hunt every year. I've been saying that for 15, 20 years. I can tell you right now, I can give you 10 teams that will – I can probably give you close to the 12 teams that'll be playing in the tournament next year. Bo on YouTube says, Shane, how does Florida build a team where the kids want to play for us because the kids want to be Gators? Of course, NIL is the main reason, but being a part of a school to carry the school weight. Those days are over.
That sounds like what Buddy Martin says a lot. He says they want to come to Florida because it's Florida.
Yeah, those days are long gone. And what's sad, what's even worse about that is those days are long gone for the average student.
Well, I can say this. If you just do simple math, very few kids on this team knew what was going on even when Urban Meyer was coaching. They were 3 or 4 years old, and hardly any of them know who Steve Spurrier is. So we've got to kind of let that I don't say let it die, I say let it burn in eternity, and it's great. But that's over, folks. This is a whole new world, and Florida is devolving into Nebraska and Tennessee and schools like that were at one point way up here, and it devolved down to this level. And the answer is going to be, how do they get themselves back into that top echelon that you're talking about when we have 16 teams, and you want to be in the top 4. You want to be in the top quarter, right? You want to be at that level competing for championships, and they're anything but that. So that's what I worry about with this program. And I think it's because they just have missed on leadership hires. And now, it starts with the coach. They've missed.
Kristen Barton's response to you about those schools hiring bad football coaches, JC, on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says he listed these coaches: Jimbo Fisher, Gene Chizik, Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Dabo Swinney, Ed Ogeron, and Kirby Smart are the only coaches that have met the standards that UF fans want. But let's see, 1, 2.
Yeah, they all got
3 of those coaches he's listed were fired.
Gene Chizik went 4-8 after he won a title. 4-8. And that, to me, is all you need to know. It's hard to maintain that level of consistency, which is why, and I know people get sick and damn tired of me saying this, but Alabama has won 11 or more games 12 years in a row, dude. Think about that. 12 years in a row. Auburn has won 11 or more games 5 times in their entire history. So it's really hard to do, and it's rare that anyone does it. And that's why he's the best ever. But I think
I think Kirby's going to surpass him.
Well, Kirby's on his way, but Kirby's got a long road to go, QB.
Not really.
QB. Look at the fact that Georgia has won 2. Okay, he's won 7. The SEC numbers aren't even comparable; they're not even close. And
what do you mean?
Well, the SEC championship numbers, Alabama's got a lot more than Georgia by about.
No. I'm talking about his tenure.
Well, sure, but
he's only been a head coach for 8 years.
Right. Well, okay, but his tenure is going to include, these championships if he's going to catch this guy. Saban.
I think he could. I really do. Ruse Over State Farm Loss is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-7600. 1779. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Got a couple of texts on the Titan MR text line to get to. This one says, this is from the 941.
I think that's
Bateman is the best recruiter we have. Billy G's an excellent teacher. Agree with Buddy and said it earlier in the week. Defense played very well and definitely good enough for us to win. Offense laid an egg due to play calling, example, trick play. You say you have no problem with the call, but at the same time, we both acknowledge our line cannot block. So knowing we will have no time, we would run such a slow developing play. Billy can't take time to do lengthy vowels for the portal guys, or we win 4 or 5 games next year. Yeah. We were offensively, we were not good, but we were limited. That's all I'm going to leave it at. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have much, you know.
Yeah. Chris from Cottondale says, good job, JC, picking off Buddy and the Titan MRI text line. Kids don't want to be Gators because it's University of Florida. Poor something hasn't adjusted to the times. So
well, the way I look at it is that he's right about the historical significance of this program. But what I want to focus more on now is the significance of convincing a kid and his parents to come here, not because of that. And the reason why that is important is because it's part of what this program and this identity is. But what's more important right now is where are we going forward? And how are we going to establish in this new landscape a consistent way of winning football games? It's not going to be about talking about the damn 90s. Nebraska won. Nebraska was one of the most impressive teams I've ever seen in my life in 1995 QB. And since then, what has happened to them? And the reality is that sometimes kids, you know, eras change, things are different, and you've got to adapt or you're going to be lost. And I think we're lost right now. There's no question in my mind. Now they're going to recruit and get some kids in here, and that's going to help. It absolutely is. But so is everybody else.
Joseph says we've been limited all year on offense, Shane. Can't blame the players, but so much. Look, I'm saying we were limited in this game because the quarterback was very, very limited. I've seen the guy in practice. I told y'all he's not a great thrower. It's nothing against him personal. Y'all can sit here and blame this, that, and the other. He was either going to go to Central Michigan or he's going to come to Florida. Okay, those are his two choices. It's not Max Brown's fault. We couldn't block anybody either. But
that's right.
It was a totally different offense. And people should have run some RPO. We tried that, people. They rushed 4 and just dominated our offensive line, and we were limited. Rod says, Shane, I agree with you. UF has only been an average program besides those 2 decades. This is what we are. People are crazy. Well, but it's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, the record is what it is. Sure, there's no doubt about it. But folks don't want to let go of the glory days. And I don't say you should let go of it entirely, but I think you need to focus on how to compete in today's landscape. What is it going to require? And it's not always – the answer doesn't always fall on more money. If that were the case, A&M would be running away with championships. Yeah. That's not the case. But they do have an advantage in that regard. But it still comes down to, you know, talent doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, talent has nothing to do with the fact that there's 13 players on the field or there's 10 players on the field or a guy spits on another guy or they don't know how to line up on a hurry-up situation to kick a field goal and we get penalties and holds and all of that. That's got nothing to do with talent. To me, that's structurally. And I think we've got problems structurally right now. And he's going to make some changes. He is. Yeah. And I think that's going to help. I hope.
Alan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, Florida has boosters too, but maybe the wrong ones are limiting our ability to match Georgia or Florida. This is just me personally. I love my school, but I do not think we have the boosters or the money that Alabama or Georgia have. Now, it's not like we're going to be able to get everybody's bank account and go, okay, this school has more money and boosters. If you go through the years, that's just a fact.
Well, people get what they pay for, QB, and at some point, if they don't like what they're getting, they're not going to pay for it.
No, but I'm not take that out of the picture here, JC. I'm just saying
you're telling me the state of Florida doesn't have more money. There's more people in the state of Florida than Alabama and Georgia combined.
JC, that has nothing to do with if I don't care if we're talking about freaking China. They may not give a damn about the football teams. My point.
I think they do.
I think people in the state of Alabama, the boosters in Alabama and Georgia, care more about their football program than our boosters.
Oh, that's wow. Well, okay. We used to play 4 games in freaking Birmingham. They didn't even play 7 games on campus at the Alabama University of Alabama. You couldn't have found. I couldn't. Well, it's crazy to me. It comes down to you. To me, you're going to see more people rally around something that they can feel proud of and they're not going to talk about something that they're not proud of. And even though you can say, I'm proud to be a Gator, it's great to be a Gator, it's this, it's that, you're not going to open up that checkbook unless you feel like it's money well spent.
But again, JC, you could be the wealthiest booster in the state of Alabama or a graduate of Alabama or any school there is. But my point I'm trying to make is you may watch the game, you may be a season ticket holder, but you don't give a damn about giving a lot of money. You see what I'm saying? It happens.
Yeah, it's the only game in town. I mean, that is it. There's 2 things in the state of Alabama. It's Auburn. Well, it's Alabama, and then those other guys in south part of the state, Auburn. And so there's limited choices here in Florida. My God, we've got 3 pro franchises. We've got 3 NFL.
What does that have to do with if you're a graduate and you love your school? Why would you care about the damn Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
The guy in Miami who is thinking about sending a big ass check to the University of Florida to support his alma mater might decide to get those courtside seats at the Miami Heat now, or they might decide, you know what, the Dolphins are really exciting. Maybe I'll spend more money there.
Well, then
at Alabama, you don't have those options.
If he even thinks of that's my point I'm trying to make. That it's not deep in his soul like it is at those other schools. That's my point I'm trying to make.
Okay, but the thing is that he's got other outlets from which to support, and he may say, you know what, my friends and I, we really are digging what's going on down here with the Dolphins, and those guys up in Gainesville haven't figured it out yet. I'm going to let them figure it out first. Why throw good money after bad is all I'm saying. And there's a lot more things to concern yourself with in the state of Florida than Alabama. My God, in Alabama, you got one thing. It's Alabama football. That's it. And I guess some folks like Auburn, but that's all you got. That's it. That's all you got.
Okay, well, then with your analogy, that I disagree with that, because what about the person that lives in Atlanta, Georgia?
Yeah, the person who lives in Atlanta, Georgia can still filter money down through here, but he's only going to one game.
No. I'm talking about the Georgia guy. He's got the Hawks. He's got the Braves. He's got the Falcons.
Mm-hmm. But I mean,
that's my point.
But there's still not as much as Florida. We got 2 hockey teams, 3 NFL teams, and 7 college teams. They don't have that in Georgia. It's the Bulldogs. And don't be giving me this about.
Well, I personally don't agree with that, because if you're a big time booster of whatever school,
yeah,
if I understand, you have to, if you want to help the program, whether it's in a bad shape or great shape or whatever, that has nothing to do with the pro teams, in my opinion. So,
yeah. Well,
anyway.
I think, listen, we both have talked to and know many people that do this kind of supporting and do this kind of, this kind of thing with their money. But I'm talking to more. It seems like I'm hearing more people say, why am I throwing my money at this? The situation doesn't get better, and we're just throwing it around like it's
everything Gators with Ryan on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, aren't you guys big money boosters? Pony up. I am a booster season ticket holder of about 4 sports here, but when you got I made good money in the NFL, but not what the college quarterbacks are making more than I ever made in my life in the NFL.
Right, it has changed.
Graham Mertz made more this year through NIL than I ever did in a contract. And then the kid at Washington State, the quarterback, it's been reported by Brock Heward from Fox that he has 10 offers right now, 10 offers of over $1 million from 10 different schools. Think about that.
Greg Ward. Well,
Cam Ward.
I'm sorry, Cam Ward. Yeah, you're right, Cam Ward. Well, that's just the world we're living in, folks. You can either accept it or not. And you don't have to. You can go support the softball team and have a great time. You can go support the basketball team, pay $3,000 or $4,000, go sit up there in the fancy section on half court and talk to all your friends. You can do that. You can. But if we're talking about football, well, I think they just want to see the results.
Well, again, like I said, I think too many people live on that 18 years of dominant football.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they have their right to do that. They have their
but
right
it's
to
over
do
now.
that.
That's over now. Okay, that's
Right.
over. Yeah,
That's my point.
Yeah, I mean, everybody used to make fun of me. I killed Bear Bryant. Would never be the same again. Nothing will ever be the same. When Bear died, Alabama's dynasty died. It didn't die. It just went into hibernation until '92, and so it can come back here.
So Joseph says we gave Graham Mertz $1 million. Who wants to donate to NIL when we're spending money like that? Joseph, if we didn't give him that money, we wouldn't have won 2 games this year.
But the last part of his sentence is important. Who wants? Read that last part again. That's my.
Who wants to donate to NIL when we're spending the money like that? So JC, let me ask you. You're an outsider. If we don't have Graham Mertz at quarterback, how many games do we win?
Oh, geez, not many. I'd say
that's okay. So we had to pay a good quarterback.
Well, it's funny, QB. It seemed like we were the only school willing to do that. So I would say that's pretty good that Florida at least saw that in this kid, because it wasn't like he was, banging down doors at LSU, Auburn, or anywhere else. They weren't calling. But good for Billy on that regard.
Well, Kentucky wanted him, but
yeah,
he
but
didn't
let's hope.
Kentucky.
Yeah, no. Well, let's hope. Let's hope that Graham. What do you think? You think Graham's going to be back again next year, QB?
I'm not sure.
You've got the pulse on this kid. You were right about him, and you knew all about what he was capable of doing before he.
I know he likes playing here, but I do think he could be in the NFL for 8 to 10 years.
So but that's fine. But what about next year?
He's either going to play here or go into the draft, and he may be a late draft or he may be a free agent.
So it's either here or the NFL. There's no other college team he'll play for. It's just here or the NFL.
Yeah, I right now I say he probably comes back, but
okay,
who knows? This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. In 1934, the Chicago Bears beat the Detroit Lions 19-16 in the first NFL game broadcast nationally.
Wow.
Wonder who was doing that game.
Well, somebody please explain to me why the Chicago Bears are on primetime football after losing 10 straight games.
Because everybody thought Justin Fields was going to be the MVP of the league. He had more money on him to win the MVP this year than any other player.
Yeah. Well, they created a situation where it was damn near criminal what was going on Monday night in Minnesota. And the NFL can't be happy with that. Now, QB, before you let me go, I don't want you to tell me who you think are the 4 best teams, because I already know that answer. And I don't want you to tell me who should be invited in the Final Four should Alabama beat Georgia. But I want you to tell me what will happen, because you are going to go out on a limb right now and tell me who the 4 CFP teams are after this weekend. Go ahead.
Okay, hang on a second. Joseph doesn't understand half the things I say. He says Trask makes barely over $1 million of his NFL contract. Mertz ain't going second round. Nobody said he was going second round. So he'll no doubt get more money next year at Florida than he would in the NFL that same season. People, y'all don't understand. Once you get to the NFL, the clock starts ticking for pensions and all kinds of benefits, and you don't have to go to class. You don't have to do anything but football. Okay? And whether he gets drafted or not, my personal opinion is the kid will be in the NFL for a long time, because he's accurate, he's tough, he throws it well, he's smart. Those are things that are crucial in being a damn backup. Okay? Yeah. All right. Yeah. No, Natasha does make a good point here that Graham didn't walk with the seniors. Okay, I didn't even realize that. You're correct. I bet he does come back now that he didn't do that, Natasha.
Well, good.
Thanks for bringing that up.
That's a very
all right. So the 4 teams.
Just tell me what they will be.
You're saying if Alabama wins the game?
No. Forget about that. Just tell me what you think will be the 4 teams, not the 4 best, but the 4 teams that will end up playing for the title this year. Go ahead. We already know one. One is
Michigan. Okay. Michigan is in. I think Georgia is in.
Okay.
I really think Louisville's going to beat Florida State.
Okay, that's fine.
But if Florida State wins, they're in, and they're going to get destroyed in the first round.
Yeah, yeah. Georgia will beat them by 28 points. And then we've got Michigan against.
Michigan will probably play Washington, if for some reason, they're like a 10-point underdog to Oregon.
Yeah.
So probably whoever wins that game.
I'm taking Oregon, dude. You know me. I've been on the Ducks for a while now. That team is impressive. Dan Lanning is he changed that whole culture in what, 2 years? That's what frustrates people around here.
Well, he didn't really change. They'd won like 9 games.
Yeah, but remember, your daddy's Ducks would just get pushed around by more physical teams. That's not happening anymore, and they play good now.
Well, hang on a second, JC. They pushed around even when Mario and all those. They pushed around all the Pac-12 teams. Wait till they play a big boy team, and then you tell me if they get pushed around.
They haven't played. I mean, why does a one-loss Oregon team have the benefit of the doubt over, say, a one-loss Alabama team if they beat Georgia?
No, I personally think this would be my 4. If you want the best 4 teams in America,
but that's not going to happen.
It's Alabama, Georgia, and Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I've heard that from other folks as well. But we all know that that's not what's driving them right now. Just because of the way you see the way they're ranked. Florida State is not the 4th best team in the country. That team that was over here is not the 4th best team in the country. They can't be when they have to replace the most important person on the field. But yet, we've got this contingent of America that says they deserve it. Well, they also then will deserve getting their fannies kicked in. And that's just not what this shouldn't be about that. And I don't know. I know there will be a conference champion if they beat Louisville. I know there'll be a conference champion. But this is about getting the right teams positioned to win a national championship. And listen, this is not Nick Foles coming in to replace Carson Wentz and the Eagles go on to win the Super Bowl, okay? Okay, that's not what we're talking about here. It's not that way. But Florida State is, deserving, but is Florida State one of the 4 best teams? You can't find me 5 people that would say yes. I can't. I mean, maybe over Tallahassee you can, but you can't find it outside of Tallahassee.
Okay.
And I think
here's Van Der. Here's Van Der. Just the most ridiculous comment I've ever heard. Max Brown is our guy next year. His complexion is wrong to suit some people. Shame, shame. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Van Der, like I said, please quit listening to my show. And I won't give you any more. I'm not going to read another comment of his from this point on. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. Well, look, Max Brown.
No, he will not be the quarterback next year.
He would not have seen the field this year. He wouldn't have seen the field this year. We all know that.
Yeah.
If Graham doesn't get hurt, he would not have seen the field. And I mean, that's all I can say about that.
Yeah. So. He's completely clueless.
Well, I don't know why. I don't know what promotes that type of comment. The reality
is stupid. Whenever I sit here and talk about the Heisman Trophy, if Jaden Daniels does not win the Heisman Trophy, and last time I checked, I think he's a black guy. So I have a lot of very good friends that are black, by the way. They're Van Der, very close friends. So, like I said, you're done on this show. All right.
You banned your first listener and viewer.
He's banned. He's banned. We probably can block his ass too.
No, don't.
Yeah. Hey, JC. By the way,
go ahead.
My beloved Tigers beat your beloved Crimson Tide basketball last night.
Did they? Yeah. Basketball to me is just such a foreign thing right now. It's just. I'm excited to see what the Golden can do here. He's got some new players. I think it's cool. But come on, man. I mean, unless you really and I get it. Gator fans should be all in on basketball right now because football's over. Yeah, sure. I get it. But not for everybody. And basketball to me, why would it be such a tragedy to start basketball in January and have May Madness? Why would that be so bad? Just help me understand why that would be a bad point.
Well, it gives people something to watch right now. People are excited to watch the Gators play Wake Forest tonight on TV, JC. I am too.
If Florida's playing Alabama on Saturday, is this what we'd be talking about? Probably.
Oh, no? Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Real quick, JC, we had a text here on the Titan MR text line from Wally. He wants to know your thoughts on Bobby Petrino going back to Arkansas.
The scene of the crime, baby. I don't understand Arkansas. First of all, if you're going to bring in a guy like that, why not just make him the head coach? Okay, that's what, to me, it feels like a coach in waiting situation, because Sam Pittman is he's in God's waiting room, so to speak. And I don't see them winning 9 or 10 games to save Sam's job. Do you, QB? So, I mean, why would you bring in Bobby Petrino if you didn't have bigger plans for him? And I think with the administration completely overhauled at Arkansas, Jeff Law is not there anymore. I think you're going to see him eventually be the head coach there. What do you think of that?
You think that'd be interesting?
Why would he go back to Arkansas, the scene of the crime, if there weren't bigger aspirations? And I'm not.
Well, I think he's been the last 4 years. He's been at a different school all 4 years.
Yeah, but listen, QB, Texas A&M had him right there on campus, and they let him leave. So, they went for a defense guy. They had Bobby Petrino right there on campus, and they let him walk. I don't know. I wouldn't have. I would have said, Bobby, it's your turn now. Get us in the end zone, please. I think he could do it.
So Joseph just asked a question on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. QB, I met Steve Walton going into the game Saturday with his son. Why the hell do they make that man walk through general admission? Ridiculous. I don't know who Steve Walton is.
Is he talking about Tim Walton?
Oh, it may be Tim Walton. All the coaches, they sit in, if they're all assistant other coaches of other sports, they sit in the regular seats like everybody and go through the gates, if that's who he's talking about.
I talked to a friend at work who was very happy what you were able to do for him getting tickets, and he paid for them because you shouldn't have to pay for them. But that was a nice gesture you did.
Yeah, that was a last minute deal.
Yeah,
I was able to get some.
He had a great time. I mean, he had a fabulous time.
All right, JC, before we get you out of here, let's get to our, we are going to pick, there's only like 30 golfers in this event. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. And we get 3 picks each.
This is the
Hero Challenge. Tiger's teeing it up. I don't know who's qualifies to be able to play in this event.
This is in the Bahamas, QB.
Yeah.
Wow, this is in the Bahamas at Albany. Oh, now that is that is big time. Albany's great. We have a friend, you and I, that played at Albany. Okay, well, I'll simply go with the guy that hits it straight in the Bahamas, and that's Brian Harmon.
Are you going to take Harmon? I'm going to take Victor Hovland.
Oh, that stuns me. Okay, you love these foreign golfers, I swear. These are okay. Give me Tony Finau right now. Tony.
All right,
Finau.
you got Finau.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take Sepp Straka.
With another foreigner. All right, I'll play with Colin Morikawa to get it right. This is quite a field, QB. Think about this.
All right, so here's what I'm doing. Here's why I picked my guys. I'm gonna take Scotty Scheffler.
Oh,
so
where's your
I took 3 golfers that are all playing football this week. Vic Hovland, Sepp Straka, and Scotty Scheffler. Their schools are all playing this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Georgia.
That was why I'll pick those guys.
Texas. Well, I like it. I like it a lot. But Brian Harmon's a Georgia guy, so I got a Georgia guy playing golf. Finau, couldn't tell you. And then Morikawa, Cal Bears are not playing this weekend. But, this must be quite a course, and I'd love to know if they're staying at the Atlantis or the other one, the very expensive one, because you've got some real star power. Tiger Woods is in this, Jason Day, my God, Spieth, Zalatoris. Gee whiz, what a great – look at this lineup, QB. I mean, this –
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody can probably let us know who qualifies to play in this event.
Well, I couldn't tell you anything about it, QB, other than I can't get over how impressive the field is. Sam Burns, Justin
It's
Rose,
only like 30 players. So
Max
I don't know.
Homa, Jordan Spieth. Good heavens, Justin Thomas. This is the star power, dude. This is a great turn. I'm glad you saw this. I had no idea what was going on. I will be in the Bahamas at the end of February, though. However, that's quite a lineup. Listen, this weekend it's about championship football. I hope the Gators can win tonight against Wake Forest, obviously. But December 4th, folks, is the day that they need to get to work, and hopefully they're doing it right now to find some players in that portal. I think it's important. I just think it's important.
Trust me, they are doing that. But like I try to tell you, JC, we ain't the only people looking in that portal.
That is very true. Very true.
It would be nice. It would be nice that if you said, okay, on December the 5th, the Florida Gators are the only people that can look in the portal and select. And then on December 6th, you can't. Get all the people you can on December the 5th.
I've been chasing money for 27 years, okay? I got 5 other dudes doing the same thing, and a good friend of mine who competes against me head on for people's money to invest and save and protect and procure and so forth. So I understand what it's like to compete in that regard. Florida's got to sell itself, and people got to pony up. That's it. That's all. That's the reality.
All right. Rod says there's 2 more Gators that are in the portal, Will Norman and Kamari Wilson. And then Louis says Will Norman played at like 8 high schools in his career. It's not much of a surprise.
Will can't figure out where he likes to live. Will is a traveling man. Let's just call Will that. He's a traveling man.
No. Okay. Greg's got a good question here before we let you go. On Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon. He says, how do you tell a recruit how much he will make before he signs? They just decide what percentage of the pot they are willing to give that recruit. It's basically like this. So we're recruiting JC.
Here I am. Interlocking high.
Interlocking left guard or fullback.
I was a fullback.
You're what?
Fullback? I was fullback for the Rams.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
So basically, they kind of have, depending on your position, and I could be wrong, but this is what I've been told. Not just the Gators, this is everybody. They have like a slotted depending on what position you play. So JC at fullback probably isn't worthy of a lot, but let's say JC played left tackle.
Okay.
Let's just throw a number out there, maybe $400,000. Okay, we want you to come be a Gator. Blah blah blah. Now remember, this is the committee or the group that does all this stuff. It's not really the coaches or the UAA. So
the collective. It's a collective.
Yeah. So the problem is that kid who's also being courted by other schools, that he knows what Alabama's offered him. He knows what Georgia's offered him. All he's got to do is say, well, I got an agreement that I'm going to make $700,000 at LSU. Mm-hmm. So now we got to decide, do we want to up the ante and see if he's bluffing or not? You know, that's all it is.
Well, you know, it is. But you got to also, I still believe in the concept of getting to know, you know, before this money thing got into play, Ed Orgeron was one of the best recruiters because he was able to connect with parents. Nick Saban connected with parents. And you still have to do that because regardless of 400,000 here or 600,000 there, mom and dad got to feel good about it. And, you know, the kid's going to play football. And if he's good, that 400 could turn into 6 million. So is it really that important, that extra 200,000? It may be, but at some point you got to be comfortable where you are. Otherwise you're not going to deserve any of it because you're not going to do well. And sometimes being comfortable at Florida, if I'm from Interlochen, makes a lot more sense than going across the country to freaking Austin, Texas. All right. It just does because I'm lost out there in the wilderness, even though I'm getting an extra 200,000. No, what happens here is that I'm going to get something. My family's going to be happy about it. They're going to get to come to the game. They like Coach Napier. And by God, I'm going to be closer to home and feel good about it because that 400 that Florida's willing to give me can turn into 6 million if I do it the right way. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I agree 100% with that, but that ain't how they feel about it. Well,
I think it depends on the kid and the family.
And pretty much 99% of them are looking, where can I get the most money? Where can I get the most money?
Texas A&M wins. Texas A&M wins. They can.
Well, that's true. But then you got people like Ra Thomas and Dominic Lovett who knows what they were making at their previous schools. Georgia gave them a little bit, and now they're going to be playing for the SEC title and a chance to win a national title. So
that does matter. Yes, it does.
All right, JC. Good stuff as always.
Getting ready, man.
Once again, are you going to bet on your Aggies, or are you going to bet on Liberty, who never does not cover the spread?
I think I'm going with Jerry Kill and the boys from Las Cruces, but the Liberty's
going to break the trend.
He's got to. At some point, don't they have to not cover? I think it's incredible what Liberty's done. Jamie Chadwell's great coach. God, he's a good coach. I'm surprised he's not
Did
getting
you
more
know?
attention.
Yeah, Liberty's a really good program. I
Yeah,
can't
it
remember
is.
who was there before Hugh Freeze went there. They were good too. But
Yeah.
did you know Delaware is now big boy football?
So do they have to sit out 2 years as well?
Well, they will. They're going to be in Conference USA starting next year. The Blue
The,
Hens.
the, the Blue Hens, man, all
You got
about
to
it.
get a hat, JC.
Michigan, University of Michigan copied Delaware's football helmet design. They said, you know what, back in 1839, I think our helmets will be designed like Delaware's. No, that's not true. But it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. The Blue Hens have the exact same logo as Michigan, except just a lighter shade of blue. And, that's kind of cool. Joe Flacco played at Delaware, I believe, to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did. And he's a Super Bowl winner. It's cool. Delaware, man. I forgot that was even a state. Is that a state still? Is that still a state? They still send 2 senators to DC? Okay. Yeah. Everybody complaining about Nebraska sending, Oklahoma sending 2 senators. Does Rhode Island and Delaware send 2 senators? Just ask them.
All right, that's JC. Join us on the Titan More hotline. We're going to take a quick time out, come back, get to some of these more questions and comments. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
The Kiara Grace Foundation proudly presents An Evening with Tim Tebow, Thursday, November 30th at the Touchdown Terrace at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Experience a once-in-a-lifetime VIP meet and greet with Tim. Hear his heartfelt stories and his unyielding dedication to the most vulnerable. With your support, we can extend the reach of the Kiara Grace Foundation to save precious lives in Latin America. Get your ticket before they sell out. Don't miss your chance to meet Tim Tebow, be inspired, and make a tangible difference.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Silverback Concrete, it's a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, we stand by it. I want to thank JC for joining us on the Titan More hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Don't forget the Gators play Wake Forest this evening in the ACC SEC Challenge. Michael says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Once they play for pay legally, now they are no longer amateur athletes, in my opinion. These kids are now professionals signing contracts to play football. Pretty much what it is. So it's crazy. It's crazy. So we'll see what happens with the Gators. If they get any guys here coming up in the portal, have to get hot and heavy for sure. And I got a text here on the Titan America text line from Jimmy wanting to know, are they going to fire more coaches this week? I would assume we got the word yesterday of the 2 coaches being fired. But like Steve Russell said, who used to be in PR for the city years ago, he says you want to have one negative moment. So maybe he's not going to fire anybody else. I have a hard time believing that, but you don't want to fire a couple guys here, a few days later, have some other guys fired. You kind of want to do it all at once, but so I don't know. Reggie says the coaches that understand free agency will succeed. Might be time for us to look at coaches coming from the NFL understand free agency. The problem is it's different than the NFL. The NFL has rules and regulations. This has no rules and regulations. Andy asks, you need a skill guy in the draft. Who do you take, Brock Bowers or Marvin Harrison Jr.? Ooh, that's a great question. I think it depends on what kind of system you're running. I do think Brock Bowers can give a lot of people a lot of problems. He's a lot like Travis Kelce, probably a lot faster. And that's a good question. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a stud. So first pick, I guess the Bears have the first pick. I would probably, if I were the Bears, and I think they have the first pick, or supposed to, I guess. We got to wait to see how the season plays out. I would take Brock Bowers because you got DJ Moore out there. I like the other receiver, but I would take Brock Bowers. Facebook Live, Ted wants to know, does a new assistant coach really provide any additional benefits to a team? Oh, it can. Some guys are better coaches than others. Have a good relationship, may bring something to the table from game management, understanding the procedures on the sidelines. Yeah, for sure. Dan says, why not put NIL money in these coaches' $1 million contracts? You mean, Dan, are you saying make them use some of their money to buy players? That would be kind of cool if the coaches had to use their money to buy their players. Here's a good question by Cameron on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. What are the realistic expectations going into next year? I know it's early. Enjoy the show. Well, it's a tough schedule on paper. Now you got to remember, the Gators can get better. Some of the teams that were better than us this year can get worse. You just don't know. It's hard to, everybody wants to look at what happened this year and kind of forecast what they think is going to happen next year. But the first three games, I think, are Miami, Central Florida, and A&M. And I think they're all at home, actually. I think you got to go 2-1 or 3-0 in those. Get it going. Luis on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, Shane, in your opinion, what does UF football look like in 5 years? Lagway comes in and has a 4-year career. Well, let's hope DJ turns into the player we all think he can be. You got to have good players around you too. Got to be able to tackle. Got to be able to rush the passer. So DJ's not he's not the savior. At least I don't think. I think we need a lot more pieces to the puzzle. I don't know. I can't answer that looking ahead in 5 years. Don't know the answer. Let's see. Greg wants to know, what's JC's track record on investing? I've got some money sitting around. Greg, we can get you in touch with JC. Does a good job. 1966 HBC beers available at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Gator Games in the Swamp, and select retail outlets. Crisp American Lager, 1966 HBC beer. We'll have Brent Beer tomorrow, college football analyst, Heisman Trophy voter. See who he can't really tell us who he's going to vote for, but maybe he will. Gator basketball tonight. It's a big game against Wake Forest. I don't even know what Wake's record is. Doesn't matter, but when you look back in non-conference games when they're looking for seedings and who makes the tournament, this is a game we need to win. So good luck to those guys. We'll recap it all tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Sorry for getting upset, but I don't take that bull crap. That's all I got to say. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.